Facebook one, right?
I'm not ready.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to episode, God, what's this, 34, I think?
34.
So, 34, yes.
Yes. Of our On Target Talks podcast. So today we're talking about the event that I assume a lot of you went to. It's Autumn Justice 10. It happened not this last weekend, but the weekend previous. Me, James, and Jake here played a recon team for Group 4. We actually have Patrick Roy, or better known as Kurtap, on Skype as well.
I was there too.
He was. Yeah, but right before we start with that, we're going to just do our usual announcements. So I'll let you take that away, Dan.
Alright, so this Friday, Pistol Shotgun Night, September 22nd. As for the normal, you guys, if you saw us Facebook and Instagram, we got some more of those Jag scatter guns in. So hopefully you guys get down here and sweep those up before they're gone on Friday. So that's going to be cool. Pistols and Shotguns only. Regular admission, $15, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday is the Extreme Airsoft Swap Meet. So, excuse me, just provide your own table, pay $5, and then you get to come here and sell all of your stuff. You can't sell guns to somebody under the age of 18, or only if they are, have parental consent. So there has to be some sort of rule there. But other than that, you can sell whatever you want at whatever price you want. It doesn't matter. It's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So just come out, pick up some stuff too, because people are selling stuff doesn't mean you can't buy stuff, and it's free.
Usually you can get some insane deals there.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to swap meets, I really don't intend to leave with anything I came with. So you'll be surprised how much stuff you can buy there.
Yeah, people.
Quite a good deal.
One kid had never played airsoft ever, and so we got a full kit of BDUs and shamag and gloves and everything for pretty cheap. So it's really nice.
It's like shopping when you're hungry.
Nice.
Exactly, you're shopping. You're like,
This is stupid to do this.
And then next Saturday, so September 30th, is Adult Night. So that means gaming from 6 p.m. to midnight is going to be adults only, 18 plus, will ID you. So it's Adult Swim, so you guys are ready. Facebook, we have the event, and also on our website, we have those both live. So check the descriptions of those for more specific rules, but 400 FPS, no safety kill requirement, and it's a good time. We had a decent turnout last month, so.
Oh yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that.
You're going to be playing?
Hopefully, things don't get in the way as always. So today we're going to be having Dan on chat. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it to Autumn Justice, which broke my heart a little bit.
I wish I could have been there.
Sorry, someone's got to hold down the fort here.
Yeah, he did a
Hold
good
it
job.
down.
So, you're doing God's work, Dan. I love you.
But yeah, we'll just jump into things, I guess. So first of all, everyone has. Let's start with the good. Everyone has their favorite story from the weekend. Let's start with you, Pat. What was your favorite moment of the weekend?
My favorite moment of the weekend, I don't know. It had to be towards the end once APOC turned the Reaper teams loose, and we just went to 14. And there was just bodies to slay. We got behind everybody, and we started slaying bodies.
Yeah, I should. I'm sorry. Just give me 2 seconds. I should interrupt Pat a second and say he actually ran with us on the Group 4 recon team towards the end of the day. You played on the vehicle on Saturday mostly, right?
Oh yeah, I should probably clarify that. On Saturday, I had started on the vehicle, but as a result of the vehicle being more effective with only 3 people instead of 4, because it's just this tiny Willys, he can only fit so many people in it. And one of the Reaper guys rolling both of his ankles, there was a spot to fill, and I wanted to take it, so
I'd say that was.
a little bit, but
It was a good time. And that's James Collins.
Throwing things everywhere. I just want to see what the audio is like with the Skype call.
All right, fair enough.
Just do that, but I'm still completely a part of this conversation.
All right. But I'd have to agree with you on that, Pat. That was a blast. What about you, Jake? What was your highlight of the weekend?
For me,
Yes, for you.
it was Group 4 had been I think we had withdrawn back to respawn. Code 4 had basically taken over the town at that point. They had pushed up to the castle.
Yep.
So Code 4 was at the castle. We were all on the edge of our spawn, trying to push it out. People were trying to run across the streets of the buildings. They had a couple of guys up on the tower of the castle as well. So we were basically stuck down in some of the barricades and the bunkers, just across on our side of the street.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
Thanks, Brian.
So I know you were shooting up at the guy in the tower.
Yep.
I didn't really have the range or the position to help you out, so I was like, screw it.
Those are the best moments.
I basically ran out towards the right of the spawn, around the dirt ring road, just outside of the castle into the woods. From there, I was facing the side of the castle, and I could see the guy that you were shooting at, and I thought about trying to take him out, but at the same time, I was like, it would have given away my position, and at the same time, he was being occupied by you guys, so I was like, why am I going to do that?
Right.
So I was just outside the castle. I could see a couple of guys, because there's an opening. There was an opening towards our spawn to run into the castle, and then there was one on the side as well. So from there, I took out a couple of guys that were outside of the rooms, inside the walls. So 2 guys out over there, ran into the little building structure that's under like the catwalk up top. Ran in there, shot one guy in the room, actually came up behind the second guy, grabbed him by the shoulder, and was like, dude, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. And he was like, obviously I didn't like shoot him, so he didn't like get hit or anything, but he looked at me and he was like, oh. And it was just like, okay. So I got that guy. Went on to another room, was about to shoot somebody else, and a grenade went off at the same time. So you called hit, I believe, from that grenade. But I basically cleared the castle like on my own.
It's the best.
So that was a great moment. And at that point, Group 4 had pushed up across the road to the castle. They were stacking up on the buildings leading down the street towards Code 4 respawn. And so I had that moment. So we had finally pushed someone into the town. At that point, we had an objective to get a bomb into the center of town. Center of town closer to basically the far side.
It was around Embassy, right?
Yeah. So our objective was to clear the town out. I know for the Reaper teams we had to do that. We had multiple squads helping us out. So people were starting to push in. We finally getting around in Urban, and I know Alamo was still occupied by Code 4. So myself and a couple other recon guys, we pushed back out to the woods towards Alamo, and I believe they were shooting into town or across the ring road. I don't know if we had people at DOT or whatnot, but I pushed them towards Alamo, shot a couple more guys, basically had another guy dead to rights. I popped over a barricade.
I was going to say, the best part is at that point I've gotten to the tower of the castle just to get an eye for what was going on. And I engaged like 1 or 2 shots with the guy over by Alamo, and I just see you come in behind him and clear it. And I was like, there we go.
So I was cruising through Alamo. It was just, I had a couple of guys back up by basically just, that was point man.
Yeah.
So I took out like 5 guys in Alamo. I even shot my brother, which was the highlight of the weekend. But I had another guy dead to rights, and I was just like, you know, like there's certain situations where if their back is to you, you can shoot him in the back. But he was, when I popped over this barricade, my muzzle was basically like at like his head level. So I was like, dude, just like take the shot. And I waited until like he pulled the dead right, because I know there's no like surrender rules that are enforced. So I wanted him to be like, all right, and like shoot me in the back and I moved through. So I waited.
Trust no bitch.
Yeah, you don't trust anybody like in these games. There's a few people, but so he pulled the dead right. I kept moving through, cleared Alamo with a couple of other recon guys, and basically helped Group 4 bring the bomb through.
Nice.
Rest of Urban. So those were my highlights.
Nice.
This
So
game.
I know you had a good few highlights too, James. I mean, I'm sure one highlight was that the system worked.
Yes, that I guess qualifies for a highlight. Yeah, you could say that.
There's a slight malfunction.
Wait, what was that?
There's a slight malfunction at the beginning of
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
slight malfunction. It's a good thing it's made out of like a real gun because I was actually like hitting it. I'm like face down on this deer path with enemies like probably 30 feet in front of me. Like I have them dead to rights, and I pulling the trigger, the gun's not shooting, and I'm just smacking it like I fucking hate you and everything you're about.
Yeah, some six operating on it.
But yeah, so I gave up on that. I pulled up my pistol and eventually died.
Right.
And then it happened again, and I pulled off the bottom of my pistol grip without any because it's one of those Magpul ones, so it doesn't have the screws right immediately on it. I pulled it out, and the issue with my Sistema, for those of you who don't know, is the motor brushes. The springs don't push it in further enough, so I got a twig, and I just started shoving it in there to shim those motor brushes closer, and it worked. And then after that, it was all good.
But you know what, like I said, what was your actual
Yeah, so that was the highlight, was how I fixed it, and just how ghetto it was, just sticking a twig into my several $1,000 gun. Let's see.
Like a man.
What?
It's like fix it like a man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But probably one of the best time, the best time I had. I forget if I told this last week, but we were in town for the night portion, and Des showed me this insane corner in town.
Station.
I won't tell them which corner it was, but I had an excellent view of the approaching tan force. And if they started to shoot at me, I could just tuck up into this corner. And there was one point where I guess like we were doing such a good job holding this down that the entire team had actually gotten to castle, but we were the only green left in town, just us three holding this down. So there were players walking right in front of my line of fire, and I'd shoot them, and they'd just be like, what the hell? And just like, at one point there was like 10 of them, like kind of like hustling it, but like, but not really. And they just all walked into the open. I just hosed them. It was insane.
My favorite is when they started knocking on the other side of the wall, like, hey, who's in there? And we just continued our conversation.
Yeah,
like,
and I think that they just like the fact that we didn't.
Oh, it must be tan.
Yeah, they're so nonchalant about it. So that was great. I probably racked up easily over 25 kills within that 30 minutes of being there.
The angles in that building
are so good.
It was great. It was great. So that's probably my favorite. And then the next one will be Sunday, day 2. We were pulling up on this trail. There's a whole squad of tan coming, or 2 whole squads of tan coming in towards black. And we went far right from our side, and then hit them from the side. And so we came in. I got a few of them, and then I was crawling through this area, maybe 5 feet to the left of this main trail. And the saw starts shooting at me. And it's my understanding that we came from a green area, kind of did a U. So I thought that I killed everyone in the middle of us, and I was just getting shot at by my friends. So what is it, that Pat back?
Did we lose you for a sec, Pat?
There's not.
Yeah, I kind of.
No.
We should have like a little green man here.
My
Yeah,
name
right.
is Pat Bag.
Alright, well, we got you back.
And so just to wrap it up, and so the saw starts shooting at me real close, and I'm just like, whoa, bro, I'm green, quit shooting. He's
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing this. He's like, well, I'm tan, and you're like, well, proceed with what you were doing.
Yeah, he just goes, what? I'm tan. I go, oh, keep doing what you're doing then. And then like the 20 players around me just started dying laughing. And then after I said that, he goes, and just started spraying at me. And the cool thing is, like, I went way back, and then I was able to push up that trail, and I should have changed a new mag in there because I ran down because I heard some guy popping. I was literally crawling on the side because they're kind of in the brush, and so I run up, shoot one guy who I was originally looking for, and then I slide because it ran out. Like I got 2 shots off, then it stopped shooting because it's stemma. I dropped the mag, and as I'm pulling the new mag in, I just see 4 guys like 5 feet in front of me. They're all tan, they're just laying there, and they just all look at me. And I just go, I'm hit. I'm dead. So those 2 were by far the highlights of that weekend.
Pat, did you have something to add?
Oh yeah. So I had my Reaper moment. That was probably my favorite moment. Then I remember a moment on the vehicle while I was driving at the beginning of the day. So it was our first push back towards NBX, I believe it was. So like our first major engagement, and we're just rocking up this trail, shooting dudes. And I drive by this one part of the trail, and there was kind of a bush there, so we didn't see this kid at first. And so we drive past him, and he's just laying down, holding Spectrum, hoping that we'll go past him.
It's the worst.
Meanwhile, my guys are on the back with their carbines out now because we can't use the mountain because we're too close. So they're just shooting these other kids. And I'm like right speaking level to this kid. And I go, hey, are you dead? And he could have just said yes. Like, he could have just easily said yes. But he goes, no. Huh. And I turn to my runners in the back and I'm just like, will somebody shoot this motherfucker? He goes, no, that's okay, I'm out.
It's like, oh wait.
They can't hear Pat.
You can't hear Pat?
Yeah, they're saying he's very hard to hear.
Is it maybe the sound cancellation from
No, let me try.
Windows?
It's science.
That's
Science?
let me try one more quick thing. Oh wait, no, because then I won't be able to hear him.
Okay, put it right on the speaker.
How does this speak?
Headset, that might be part of it.
Then that's the wrap. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't make you any louder. This is our first attempt at adding a, what do you call it, Skype call to it. So I'll have to figure out something better in the future, but for now, I guess Pat's just going to have to be a little bit quiet. But that's all right. Let's see if there's any better way to do
I
it.
feel like angles that in kind of read those speakers over here.
And you can just try it.
But either way,
Can you hear me any better now?
hopefully they can. We can hear you fine. I guess it's just the chat.
We'll tell. Just keep doing your thing.
But either way, I'll tell my quick
Just
story.
keep doing what you're doing.
Right? I'll tell my quick story, and then we'll hop into actual like game mechanics and how the whole event went overall. So my highlight was this is the first time in almost 3 years or 4 years that I've run with a hot weapon at above the 400 FPS max for sniper with my 100-foot no engagement range and all that. And I was trying out a new pellet, and I will definitely say the ASG .4s are incredible. And my highlights are that I got multiple confirmed kills at beyond 300 feet. Like, and it wasn't just sitting there in volume of ammo. It was like pop, pop, and I watched the 2 rounds nail the guy at like well beyond 300 feet out. And that was just a good feeling where people are just, they can't even respond. They shoot pellets at you, and you're like, oh, there's a drop in like 100 feet in front of me.
Yeah, right.
That's James was witness to a few of them.
Oh yeah, I was like, there's no way. I don't even raise my rifle because I just know it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, those were good. But then, I mean, those are just overall highlights. But in terms of actual like pure gameplay highlights, actually a similar story to Jake is at night as I cleared castle myself at night with the 416. That was great. Well, it was like the day before. But moving into the actual event in its entirety and how it ran. I mean, I definitely had a blast. I always do. I don't think maybe once I've ever had a bad time playing these games.
There was one time.
And it was because I played
We had
Tam.
switched things
I
up
made
a
a
little bit.
mistake.
Well, we had enough guys to actually like form a squad
Yeah.
for one game. So we were like, well, we have a squad. Why don't we like try playing on the other team? And
It
it just
just wasn't
turned.
worth
It left a sour taste in
Yeah.
our mouths.
But either way, I had a great time. Again, thanks to Cobalt and all of the refs and all the event staff for putting on an incredible game. Thanks to APOC for running Group 4 really
Yeah,
well.
freaking APOC.
War
I got a
Crimes,
few things
a little
to
bit
say
of
about
that too,
him.
but that's okay.
Just a little bit.
I got a few things to talk about you about APOC, so get ready for that.
But I will give my one criticism of the game, but on top of everything else was amazing. My one criticism had to be the voting period in the beginning was just a little bit too long. I feel it worked a lot better in Spring Offensive when the teams were balanced, because there's a lot of fighting going on in the valley, and overall, as no one really had dominance of the field. I feel in this time we definitely had more players to root for. I mean, that's just a fact. And we controlled the entire valley, our entire area of operation, and I think everyone basically just got bored. which led to, I think, right when the fighting started, there was just a lot of gripes about cheating here on both sides because I think everyone was just worked up and like a little frustrated. However, I will say, I very much so do like having the pause like that at the beginning of the game.
It was really cool.
Because maybe not that long, but what it did do is most of the starts of these games is you'd have all the fighting in one very small spot of the field, and like that was that.
And then it just
it slowly spread out.
Yeah.
Whereas having that pause at the beginning of the game really did a great job at spreading out the battle lines across the entire field. At game start, there was fighting everywhere, and that was really cool.
Yeah. I think that's really cool too. What I really like the most about that style of play is that, you know, even when you go to Milsim games, like, I don't know, I've never been to a Milsim West game, so I can't really, I'm sure that it's just about everything like I'm about to describe, but like, you know, you go to an Airsoft game and it's basically always constant fight. Like if you want to find a fight, you're going to go find it. And yes, you could have done that in Valley, and we did do that at the beginning of the day. But it was just really cool, just, you know, the idea of like, you know, you can just sling your gun down, and then 1 minute, you know, you could be out like on patrol. The next minute you could be going like under fire. It really kind of, it adds like another level of that, of just not in combat, but still in game, like in game. Like, and that's what I've heard that Milsim West is like, because like you can actually set up real ambushes for real patrols that the enemy sets up, and like that's not something you can. I mean, you can definitely do that in like Autumn Justice and some Ensado games, but I definitely feel like Cobalt did a really great job doing that. You know, it just you just that feeling of, well, I'm not in a combat zone. It's weird to be on the field. Well, the game is active, but you're not in a combat zone.
Yes.
So I think that was
like there's a couple
cool.
times we had our guns slung just walking down a road.
Yeah.
I will say my, you know, I'm going to add what I think the best part of the event was, and then we'll probably go person here, is I think my highlight of one of the best parts of the game is that I really feel that Cole did a great job running the event so that there was action all over the field. In past games, it really felt like it was focused to one or two spots in the field. This game, like, there was times to be like, oh, everyone get to town, there's something going on there. Now we have to defend Flak. Now go to ZP-112. Now go to OLC.
We were all over the place.
We were all over the field both days, and I really felt like he did a good job of spreading out the action. Whether it was just a happy accident or that was his plan, it just overall made for a much more exciting game because it wasn't the same fight over and over. Like, we went into town a few times, cleared it a few times, but that was minimal. But what would you have to say? Your biggest criticism, but also biggest fan of the event was?
Let's see. So, I guess probably my favorite part was definitely the concept of that ceasefire in the beginning. That was quite a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of people are hating on it, but I'm like, no, don't.
I agree with you completely that it definitely should have been maybe like an hour shorter.
Yeah.
I think like it was 4 hours.
It was like 3. So.
Yeah, whatever it was minus an hour, I think would be good. Because in the last hour we were sitting watching an objective in the blue zone, and we're just like, we could shoot all these guys. Like, this is getting kind of boring. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But let's see.
Yeah.
And then my biggest criticism. It's hard to exactly pinpoint. Like, I didn't really have. I mean, maybe you can help me with my memory. Did I really have anything in specific where I was like, man, this sucks. Like, this is bad on the game.
Not having your night vision.
Not having my night vision. You know, the sad thing is, they received it yesterday, and they're going to ship it out tomorrow to be fixed. So I totally could have had to. But I didn't know exactly when to send it. But yeah, still. But that's my own fault. I'm trying to think of a criticism on the game.
Overall, we all had such a good time.
Yeah, like I can't really think of an instance where I'm just like, man, these rules are whack.
Right.
Like, this is some stupid shit.
For the most part,
I can't really think of much.
No, I didn't really
think of much. A couple interesting or a couple interesting penalties in there, but we'll get into.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get scores after this. What about you, Pat? I know you mentioned some stuff during the game.
Well, Pat always has some great input.
Insights.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I guess you made yourself louder. I was saying, what about you? What was your favorite part of the game in terms of like the actual gameplay, not necessarily like highlights, and also your biggest criticism?
Okay, so I had written it in the AAR on ESAC,
Yep.
But I'd have to say that like the way that they implemented the vehicle hit rules, I really liked that. Like just the fact that one rocket didn't necessarily send you all the way back to the motor pool.
Right.
It also kept like it kept the fight going in a little bit more. The attachment of the QRF, however, it was a little like it. Obviously, this is the first time that it's been implemented that way.
Of course.
It kind of felt a little bit clunky because you're a vehicle who's rolling with infinite stamina, and you're dragging along the squad like 16 guys with you or in front of you. It's very easy for them to get tired. It's very easy to lose contact with them.
Right.
They
True.
were,
True.
like attached at the hip, like we had to be. So oftentimes it would like if you lost sight of them, you'd have to stop and wait for them to catch up or anything
Right.
like that. Pretty much it just kind of it kind of watered down the effectiveness of the vehicles, but that was to the benefit of the players who were on foot as a whole.
True.
Like that.
True.
That was so just to wrap it up. That criticism believe this comes from somebody who loves rolling around on vehicles and causing all kinds of mayhem. It's more of a personal problem, and overall a great addition to the Stag Ops game. It definitely will, the second generation will be way better.
Do you like the idea of of actual mechanics? Like you actually have to put the plank on that on the vehicle to repair it. What do you think of that?
Well, that was I love that. The fact that under fire, our QRI had to light up to our position. There was at one point in the game, our engineer was taking fire from under our vehicle, like people were laying down
nice.
under the vehicle towards him. And one of his squad mates just runs up and lays down across the back of the vehicle and just sacrifices himself for the engineer. Just takes all the rounds. He's like, fix the vehicle.
Oh man. That's funny.
He got the vehicle back up and everything. We were able to keep fighting too. It's like it adds a very dramatic sense of urgency when you have someone who's actively wrenching on your vehicle to get it back into the fight.
That's actually really cool. I saw. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say for the people who didn't really witness the engineer, it was one person who had these 2-inch by 10-inch by 2-foot planks in a backpack, and that was the thing that had to get bolted onto the vehicle. So they're carrying around about an extra 30 pounds on their back just for the purpose of being a vehicle medic.
Ew.
Geez, you think being assigned a squad medic is the garbage job?
What would you say your highlight in terms of like the way the game was put together was? Or like what to keep doing?
Well, actually, I do have a criticism, but I'll let Pat answer it.
I definitely want to see them keep going with those vehicle rules to polish it up more. As far as like individual gameplay goes, it's always been like I've liked how the individual gameplay has worked for most of the time that I've been playing. Like it just keeps getting better. Like they haven't really taken any steps in the wrong direction. So once they hit that stride, it's like okay, well let's keep doing this. It's just that as more players and different play styles come in, you kind of have to polish it up to accommodate.
Makes sense, yeah.
So not everybody's going to be happy all the time.
Yeah, I can definitely agree there.
On a personal level, I think that everything that Stag Ops does with the rules is on point.
I couldn't agree more. That's it. Like like we discussed with the SOA AAR, it's kind of like similar to what you're saying. Like the vehicle rules are definitely still in their infancy and working and getting better with every event. But yeah, in terms of the overall rule set, it's just so good.
Yeah, no, I do quite like that. Let's see. So,
what was your one criticism?
Oh yes. So my one criticism was the very end of Sunday. Cobalt had made the end game mission based around HVTs, and HVTs can die. And so I know like our Group 4 is very much so like if just fuck them, just shoot them. So what happened was one of the HPTs got shot, and so then like that was like the whole thing. Like literally like everyone was going crazy about this, and he got shot, and there was like 45 minutes left in the game, and we're just like, we're already in like, hey, what do we do? And APOC's like, kill KOFOR. I'm like, is it really just gonna be team deathmatch for the last 45 minutes? So that was my like.
You're a little right. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That one was like, you know, I would have, obviously, you know, HPTs are their own, you know, game in itself, but I think at least for, you know, like continuity and just overall momentum leading to the very end of the game, I think having a hard point, like deliver this bomb that can't be quote unquote killed to this hard point, you know, and do that. So that's my criticism. But, you know, I'm sure Cobalt had his own reasoning for that, relevant to the storyline.
And actually adding on to that is, I was a little bit, I won't say frustrated, because I totally understand the storyline is such an important part of the game. But when we controlled town, and then we were told to leave town, and the idea was that we were each going to leave our spawns at the same time to get the HPT
where both teams respawned.
And then we supposedly started at the same time, but by the time we got to town, Tan was already completely in town. And it was just a little bit like, but we were already in town and we left to make this balance.
Yeah.
It just, that felt a little bit, it kind of took...
It was a little forced.
Well, it took, exactly, it kind of removed the immersion a little bit. So I would say that's maybe something that could have been done a little bit better, like with a backup plan if the team controlled town at that level. So that would maybe my one other criticism, but again, overall, the rest of the event just overshadowed that with such goodness.
Oh yeah,
that was fun.
I really can't make it say like that was a deal breaker. It was just one of those, you know, you're just on the field, you're just like, well, I mean, like I'm not gonna get mad about having enemies to kill. Like this is great, but at the same time, it's just like could be doing something a bit more interesting. But that's really as far as that complaint will go.
Exactly.
I still was having a great time.
Do you have anything more to add, Jake, before we move on to the scores?
Not really. I mean, I like what they've been doing with the ceasefires at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. So it disappoints me actually in Cobalt's when he posted the scores, which we'll get to in just a moment. He's like, oh, that's a dynamic you guys won't have to worry about for a very long time. And I actually really hope he doesn't get rid of it.
What is this?
The whole ceasefire thing in the games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, hell, even if it's like.
I mean, again, maybe the storyline might not work anymore.
Where the spawns are located.
Yeah.
Because in the past, when depending on where the spawns were, because I know like there would be one team closer to urban, one team in the backfield. So one team would occupy urban right after that, and it would become such a center point because everybody thought it was so important for whatever reason.
Right.
So it's like he's made it so like we use the entire field instead.
Yes.
And when we have to come back to urban, we go back to urban. But then like it's redirected somewhere else. It's not such a major focal point, which is kind of nice. But then like every once in a while, it's like, oh, I get to go do some like CQB and like clear a couple buildings, like, and like you like this. We had like surges in the past, like Code 4. We've been hunkering down in the building, and we're just like laying down fire.
Right. I've liked how the last few games the urban has been in the middle of two spawns. It wasn't like almost automatically one team's thing. So like each team really got to enjoy urban, but it's fun.
And it adds like a little different dynamic with the ceasefire. And watching like what you're doing and like what section of the field you're in. And overall just like the playing wise too.
Did you have any criticisms to add? Or should we move on to scores?
Not really. I mean, I've always loved these games. I mean, you got me into them. It's just like such a good freaking time every time we go. It comes to the point where these are the only games I've been playing for like the last.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat.
I hate to say it, because I can't get out and like play all the time.
Like twice a year, I guess.
I don't have like weekends off, so it's like
you gotta save up and like do that. Yeah, it's like that one event every few months, and
it's just like these are the games like I look forward to all the time.
So I'm going to jump into the scores. I'm going to let Jake and James jump into the scores here. I got to handle something real quick out front. So I'll start with probably the most interesting score point, and I definitely want your input on this, Pat. And this is the penalties. They're pretty bad. And even if you ignore the whole civilian killing thing from APOC, which was kind of just funny at the end of my opinion. But there was still a lot of disappointing actions by Green that lost us some serious points. So I'll let you guys just jump into the discussion on this real quick. Don't change the other score thing until I get back. I'll
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, wait, Des. That was from the one in the office. About that, what you're going to do?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so let's see if I can do this. All right, so I am going to just.
Miracles!
Okay, perfect. So for you guys watching,
Hello
let's
there.
see. All right. So I'll just start. All right, that was just a lot going on there. All right. So yeah, wait, how do you do this? So just want to full screen. Okay, so going over the scores and everything from the game. So what we have right here, these are just a bunch of the economic spheres. So whenever Cobalt does a game, he has a lot of different stuff going on all at once. So the first one that we're looking at right here, this is the economic sphere of influence. So these are like petroleum, like oil. There's a lot of oil crates, and it looks like we Green got the majority of them. And that's actually one thing. Do you remember that? Since as a recon element, we were on a direct line to the commanding officer, APOC. And basically all of day 2 and the night game, he's like, we need to go to Flak, because Flak was our treasure. That's where we held all this oil. And he's like, we are not letting them, get in here. And they contend with us and wave after wave after wave to get these oils canceled from us. And I think that the fruit of our labors right here is showing in that the petroleum products, like you see on the left, COFOR here has 0, at least for this first picture. And then on the right side, we racked up quite a large amount of points just by holding those.
Yeah, we had to maintain a dominance there to basically get the majority of the points. Because most of the games are territory based. So most of the time, like we're running around the field, capturing objectives, and going over the scores, we did a really good job this time around, holding these objectives instead of, like in the past, just writing your name down, taking off and going after the next one. In the past, that's how we lost points, really, because we wouldn't have squads stick around to the top of the hour to make sure we scored those points. So it looks like we did like an awesome job that time around.
Yeah,
and we added in the resources, like the resource treasury.
Yeah, all those other and a bunch of other Fraggle related items. And then moving on to the military sphere of dominance. So this was the big game of conquest. If you ever play Battlefield, you have all these points around and you have to hold them and capture them. And how the scoring went for this was you had to take a photograph. There's a clipboard. You had to write down your team, your initials, and then the time. So you get 1 hour until you. So let's say you were holding down something close to your spawn. And this is how you would score it. So let's say you have this shitty job. This is all theoretical. You're sitting there all day. Like that is your task. Like you're literally never going to see combat. You're sitting there all day. This is how you would score it. So every hour, it doesn't matter if it's really exactly on the hour, but every hour you have to re-sign that clipboard and then send that picture in. So what you would do is, what we would do actually as a recon team is we at day 2 we were kind of just walking around the field.
Because actually the funny thing is Cobalt in his post clarified you don't have to resend if you already own.
Oh, okay. So disregard the last 2 minutes of me talking then. And that's how you do it. So you fill this out. If you saw that Group 4 or Code 4, whatever the opposing team had signed for it, last, you just sign for that, take a picture of it, send it in, and you're good to go. So the thing is, everyone was complaining that Han would be down significantly, but if you look at this, the military sphere of dominance.
Well, Tan did an amazing job of getting recon teams and small squads out of our wall, through our wall, and they would hide in the backfield and score objectives quietly.
Yes.
And that will definitely say that one thing Green has to do better is checking this shit.
Exactly.
There was so many times. How many times did we roll up an objective and we're like, let's check the clipboard? Oh, look, COFOR owns it.
Yeah, COFOR owned it 2 hours ago. That's something that pissed me off.
And it was in an area that
we walked up to. Anyone could have just signed on.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at this, COFOR did an amazing job, especially considering how down on numbers they were. So that's a big one, as they make all their noise.
So then moving over, we just went over economic.
Oh yeah, economic was.
And
that
so
was
then
fun.
bonus points.
This is
retain-
like Ragos.
Yeah. So at the very top, you have retain volition until index. Don't really exactly understand what that means.
That was like each team had a thing they could barter with the UN and other things with. What?
If we had broken the ceasefire, we could have used that.
To like try and
So,
heal the
like,
ceasefire. Apparently we
Yeah.
left our.
Oh, okay. And then I remember when Gordon was on, he was talking about the
Yeah,
just
that
do
was-
some research into previous events. Looks
Yeah.
like Code scored on that. We did not get that. And then staff discriminatory. Can't read today, I guess.
Discretionary.
Oh, discretionary. Thank you. And I guess that's just bonus points awarded to teams for doing different things. I don't know. Anyways, but let's move on to everyone's favorite part, the penalties. So if you see right here at the top,
If we're gonna go to penalties.
no, well,
No, if we're gonna go to penalties, we should go here that lists what every penalty
Oh
was.
my goodness.
oh, okay,
That's why I said let's start on this page.
okay, because that's what I was thinking at that. Okay, so
Can you really skip past? Are you
James, what did you do?
I gave you one job.
Well, no, I started with the overall
That was
scoring
starting with the good stuff.
because I wanted to save penalties for last because that's going to be the most interesting.
Bro, look
so
at that.
get on, get.
What did you do?
Fight me. What did I do?
You broke it. Look
I didn't-
at that.
I
That's
didn't
not how you
break-
play a game, James.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Are you kidding?
the stream. Yes.
broke the
Yes. So
stream.
if you look on the other slide, we were deducted.
It's literally James.
What?
It's right there.
It's right fucking.
Oh,
there.
okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. It's usually it's nice and highlighted and.
I'm not even there.
I'm really
This is what I
sorry,
deal with
guys.
every day, Pat.
Hey man.
And all weekend.
Hey.
Literally, this was all weekend.
Hey man. So looking at these tiny numbers in the top right hand corner, that's a great place for them on this picture. So Code 4 was only deducted 60 points. Well Green, your favorite team, was deducted 324 points.
So the funny thing is Pat, when you were running recon with us, you mentioned you're like, I'm just worried that we're going to do well in points, but then we're going to lose it because
From penalties.
we're going to get hit with a million penalties.
So isn't that the joke over the weekend? Like if we lose because of penalties, we're never showing up again.
Right?
More about what I meant when I said that was, if as a faction, either Group 4 or Group 4,
Yeah.
we never really scored high enough
Right.
to actually outweigh our penalties, and so as a result,
You just played sloppy.
as a courtesy to both factions, football has kind of
Under the rug?
I don't know, forgiven certain penalties and
Right.
forgiven other ones because nobody would have any points. So my fear, what I was telling you about was, I think we might actually score high enough this time where he counts it at face value. And
Right,
It looks like
of course.
that's exactly what happened.
Oh no, that's what I was saying. That's what I was going to say is like very much so exactly what you were saying, and I'm perfectly okay with that because I think that this really shows the work that Green needs to do at policing their own players. But what's funny, this is the first slide I looked at when Cole put up the scores last night, and my first thought was, damn it, Pat is right. We lost because of penalties. But fortunately, the other points outweighed that, and Green didn't end up winning. But I mean, just to point out, in terms, again, talking about things that can be done better next event and just moving forward in general, there's a lot of stupid points lost here.
How many civilians does it say?
So APOC may have grenaded like 15 civilians.
Oh yeah. It's
9
be a grenade to
plus
9 unarmed surrendered cities with hands up. Hands up, don't shoot.
I want to see that video.
15. That is 15 people. That's Sunday.
Yeah, so that was a whoops, but
whatever.
There was like a story that went along. Like they had just been shooting at them, and
So-
they switched roles.
Yeah, so there was something that Cobalt said in one of his posts, and he goes, theoretically, Green should not have been able to win after that level of war crimes, but somehow the number of other points that we scored, we still pulled ahead. But
Somehow.
we broke a lot of story there.
This is like if Trump were to be like commanding officer.
What?
I don't know. I feel like that's like what everyone would think it would be. It's just I'm basing that off of no statistical facts. I'm just.
But returning to not political shit. But like I said, there's a lot of stupid stuff here, like full auto within 20 feet. A lot of players separated from squad, and squad integrity is.
No,
that's
it
why
was
it's so hard.
penalized
It's
pretty
something
hard.
you recite too at the beginning.
Right. I think that's the one that frustrates me the most is the squad integrity. I don't understand because, like, you know, someone not calling hits, someone shooting full auto. That's one person
Right.
who's just not playing the
Like-
game well.
We all know that. The 5 new players that show up and don't exactly know that, but like everybody else knows.
Right. So like,
It should be, that information should be passed down.
yeah.
And then even at the beginning during CP, he has you recite all this stuff, and that's one of the things that's in there, I think, most of the time.
Well, so that's my point. It's like, so I can't even get that frustrated with a single person losing us points. Like, yes, I'm annoyed with that person, but it doesn't represent an entire squad or an entire part of the team. It represents one person's bad attitude. However, things like squad integrity reflects badly on the entire squad.
Yeah.
Because how did they not notice that one of their guys is missing and stuff like that? And it's just things that need to definitely be worked on next game.
No iPro. Ref saw a player without iPro. I wonder if it was like just cleaning it off or just they just straight up didn't have
I'm
it.
sure it was just cleaning it, but still no excuse.
Yeah, the safety ones aren't really the best. Full auto measured at no greater than 18 feet. Let's see, there's a couple interesting ones in here for sure. The recon one, I'd be interested to know which of our recon players was absorbing hits while accusing others
I know
of
who it
not
is. We'll discuss
calling
this later.
hits.
I can
Oh,
probably
okay.
venture a guess.
Yeah, I think most of us can guess who that is, but we don't need to name names. I
Yeah,
am
that's
actually,
why I just said I wanted to go.
I am actually very curious about the recon firing full auto within 20 feet because all of us had full
That
auto.
was definitely Kyle, and I'm not saying he was shooting full auto, but
He
like
couldn't even shoot full auto. Full auto was disabled on his
exactly, but he's got his trigger set up like a Polar Star because he
Yeah.
owns a Polar Star. And there's a few times he was behind me, and you could just hear like, and like you think it was full auto, but no, he's just whipping on that trigger.
Right. So I mean, like again, I voiced my concerns already to Gordon about that, and it was probably just something else, or maybe someone that got mistaken for recon.
Either way, trigger that fast, winning.
Actually, Pat, do you have any insight on the vehicle one? I'm just curious. The entering red zone.
Yeah. That one actually was probably a failure to communicate through command. We had gotten orders to move from our static position at the oil facility towards OLC. And once we got there, we had been directed by people on the ground that there were hostiles at the top of the hill at AJX with their vehicle. So we started moving in because we figured, hey, war's on. And about that time, the GoCo had
Yeah.
actually been called. Or at least, I don't know, maybe I hallucinated that it was. I was just so anxious
to get shooters.
And the thing about this penalty is that the fighting started right like a couple of seconds after this penalty registered. Cobalt had driven by in his truck and passed us while we were at the voting station, moving through, not even fighting yet. And so it was just really a matter of like he pretty much just like visually saw us in the place that we weren't supposed to be. It was like, oh, okay, well, I mean,
Fair enough.
we're not supposed to be here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but then we proceeded to get after it though. That was
Yeah, right. So there, it's yeah, like that was kind of where I was getting at earlier. Where I was saying I feel like a lot of this stuff happened on Saturday because people are just a little too anxious. But again, that's no excuse. But again, like you said, with the vehicle, it's bad timing.
Yeah. I mean, my joke while I was waiting for the ceasefire to drop was that I was going to go put on a tan uniform and stage a false flag.
Yeah, I remember hearing that you joke about that.
And I'm like, well, maybe I could actually do that. It could be some secret CIA shit, but no, we don't metagame in this one. We don't enforce the
It just it breaks games.
experiences.
Yeah, I was gonna say
What,
past
changing
experiences.
uniforms?
No, we're not other past. We're not getting into this right now.
Bust and
I
balls,
will
bro.
kick you.
Nobody on the green team has ever changed uniforms to gain an advantage. I just wanted to get that out there.
No,
That has never happened.
but some headaches.
There
have
definitely no
been.
advantages were gained,
The
but
only thing that
headaches
happens
were.
is we get penalized. We it was boys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not worthwhile.
Were they penalized in that instance?
Again, we're not getting into this.
I was just asking.
Stop.
The whole team.
Moving forward.
The involved parties feel bad about it. They know. I'm just bringing it up just for conversation's sake.
No,
Jeez.
that's my point. We're not making conversation.
That was last week.
Moving forward, what are things you saw with Green Team? Pat, I'll direct this towards you, you first. With Green Team, how do you think things they could improve and things they should keep doing?
Well, things that could improve. I think people could put on a little bit more of a serious face in these games.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more with that one.
Put it with the autistic screeching.
We're big to autistic screeching. We don't need to, like, you don't need to, like, spread memes out onto the field and everything.
Right.
And, like, I have never, well, I have, but now with these days, I'm not as serious of a player.
Right.
But at the same time, when it's time to do work, do the work.
Agreed.
People were bringing out Bluetooth speakers to play music, and that absolutely drove me up the wall. And the answer that I got was, well, we shut it off when we get into contact. I'm like, yeah, but you're probably getting into contact
because of that.
Speaker.
Right?
Oh, wait, they were bringing it on the field? I thought they were just bringing that on, into CP, because I do that all the time.
No, I
That's
know
why I
a
was a
couple
little
people
quiet.
brought it on the field, and I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, I bump music in the CP, you know, just while I'm reloading, but no, not on the field.
No, instead you just have your freaking speaker on your arm.
Yeah, that was a mistake and a half. But I've ordered.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't
But
that bad.
anything else, Pat, or things they could continue doing that they did well?
Mostly, it's just maintaining the serious attitude about the game, and I feel like that could definitely benefit a lot more than just gameplay. When people feel like that they have a goal to achieve, like some people go to the game to just get into firefights, and there's tons of those to offer, but other people go to actually immerse themselves in the scenario.
Right.
If everybody kind of focused on that a little bit more, especially the motivations of the role players and the civilians. Obviously, this is going back to the penalty code, where, you know, like the kind of the unspoken order, I think, or it might have been spoken by Avon. I don't know. The guy's a maniac. just lace him, just shoot him, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be fair, there was, SAGOP's staff was doubling as civilians and, armed fighters.
Right, I definitely.
But not at the same time.
Right, I think there was a lot of confusion. Just looking at AAR on Niaz, I think there was a lot of confusion about when they were civilians, when they were Sons of Lance, and all that kind of stuff. And that may have been where a little bit of the issue stemmed from. But you can only do so many people. You don't have a whole cast to work with.
Yeah, and like I know people who do work for SAGOPs, they do their diligence in making sure that they're
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And so pretty much my criticism for players is to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings. Like just put a little bit of effort into thinking about what's being shown to you. Because Cobalt doesn't his game is one giant Chekhov's gun. He doesn't present something
Right.
into the first act unless he's planning on using it in the future. Everything that he shows to
There's
you
a reason
has
for
one.
everything.
So,
Absolutely.
like, be more aware of the surroundings and everything. Like, not just on the player level, but like on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Anything you'd say keep doing that Green did well?
Yeah, fucking stacking bodies.
That's fair. That's fair.
Not civilian bodies.
Yeah.
Less
No
of
more,
those.
no more civilians.
Yeah, I'll jump on this one next. I'd say the one thing that Green really needs to work on is kind of their role together. Is a lot of people I feel on Green get into the firefight and they're in that hot-headed, shoot everything that moves mentality, and more often than not, the tan people would be wiped out, and then it would turn into a green-on-green firefight. No matter how much people yelled, "Hey, you're shooting green," the fire just kept coming. People need to have a little bit more level-headed. No, I know that's just a little bit more level-headedness when they're in a combat environment, and being a little bit better at IFF, identify friend foe. there was a lot of green on green shooting. And I mean, there was one point towards the end of the game, and yeah, you were there for that. We're literally sitting there waving our hands, going, "Hey, we're green!"
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was pointing at my helmet. They turned around and started shooting at me.
We were screaming that we're green, and they just continued to shoot for a good 5 minutes. And literally, all it took was 1 second for one of them to say, "Why would the tan player be waving at me as I shoot at him? Oh, maybe they're green." That's all it would take.
I mean, to be fair, in their defense, they could be calling hit. But pointing at
But
the
then why would you
helmet...
continue to shoot at someone that's calling hit? Oh, like, I mean, the point is still valid. Just 2 seconds of common sense would make a big difference.
Yeah, but that's just airsofters, man. I don't try to get
So you're saying they shouldn't work on IFF at all?
No, they absolutely should.
I don't know why you're
No,
arguing.
they absolutely should. It's just like, it's just an airsoft. It's just one of those things. You're just like,
It's a lot of miscommunication. The squad leaders, I think, have to be on their game a little.
Yeah, I mean, on the same token, you don't see nearly that level of friendly fire in tan. And that's airsoft.
I mean, I've never played tan, so I
Team board
don't
is a hell of a lot
know.
better than we do.
Well, that's my point, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is it needs to be a little bit more of level-headedness in combat.
There's a lot of structure.
It can't just be Zerg rush here. You kind of have
Yeah, you can't be
to,
like,
to communicate from squad to squad and really work on a
We need
little
a
bit
little
more
more
organization.
professionalism.
Yes, and then
I get,
returning to what Pat was saying.
like, we like green because it's a little more laid back.
But
at the same time,
there's a good happy medium.
yeah, there's that good medium, but at the same time, it's like why is this happening? Like, this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
But it's because, like, you're also dealing with just, like, people who are there to just shoot.
Yeah. I will say though, to keep doing for green is the overall energy was just really good. It was, oh, I got killed, let's turn around and get back to the fight. Like I was really impressed. In past events, it's been a little more disappointing, but the last
There was a good, like, turnaround rate.
yeah, good turnaround rate. There's still a lot of people in CP, more than there should be, but for the most part, people turned around and got back to the combat pretty quickly. And I was pretty impressed with that. And there was just, everyone was pretty high energy the entire event, like very, very into the game, let's keep going. And that was a nice change to see from past events.
Yeah.
What would you have to add, James?
So I remember, I don't know if APOC's watching, but if you are watching right now, or maybe you're tuning in later, don't worry, this is the part where I'm going to talk about you. And first of all, I'd like to put out there that, you know, I've always been a little bit, you know, salty towards the boot up the ass attitude about it's airsoft, like, you know, like I'm all for whipping players into shape, but I've always thought it was just a bit extra. That's just me opening. However, man, you did a fantastic job. I think I was telling Dez and Jake, I was like, guys,
I wish
at the end of day
recorded
one,
the
at the-
comp chat.
exactly, at the end of day one, I was telling them, guys, I'm floored with his ability to command a large force. Like, you know, one important objective would start going down. They call over it with a radio, and then for 2 minutes straight, you just hear this guy just spitting out orders, you know, relevant to that area or to that objective. And he'd just be like, all right, 2-2, you're gonna move to the east side. You know, hit it from Tig, then move in on this trail. You know, just like, and then just the way that he delegated orders, his command structure, I thought was very good. I wish I could compare it to yours, Patrick, but I've never played it at a game where I've been on a direct communication line with you. But I've played with Pat before, and I know that you're a freaking awesome guy when it comes to that. But I definitely got to say, APOC did a fantastic job, and I'm very much so looking forward to playing with him again. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it again.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Pat, you started COing green back when it was like 80-person games, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
I thought those games were
It was a lot easier to control.
Well, yeah, that's actually what I was going to get at. Is your command structure, and I kind of loved it, was definitely more like controlled chaos, kind of.
It literally was.
But
yeah, it's easier to control, you know, 80 people when you're in shoving range of them.
right, absolutely.
And that's really how I started out. Commanding was more of a shoving, aggressive, lead from the front type of way. But as we started picking up more people, you know, obviously you can't reach out to everybody at the same time or
Right.
to right multiple fronts at the same time that way.
Of course, but yeah, no,
Oh, sorry. And so, like, then I started to put more of my delegation into control, so that, you know, the command squads that I was absolutely reluctant to take on a full squad of just command elements, but that was at Cobalt's insistence, and that really added lots of gameplay too. So not just the APOC, which should be
yeah, the whole command.
Oh yeah.
all people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. You know, and just overall, the overall structure of Green, definitely still room for improvement, but so much better than it has been.
Yeah, no, just great job, man. Like, definitely, I definitely am looking forward to that. Again, I had another thing else I wanted to say. I forgot it, but I'll bring it up if I remember it.
Fair enough. Anything to add, Jake, before we move on?
I mean, like, it all comes down to, like, preparation again.
Yeah.
When was it? Like, this past SO, there was a lot of focus on, we didn't get the objectives this game because we kept running off. We would claim them, but we were running off and 10 would come in, and they would pick it back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did a good job there. There was a much better job of, like, organization. Command obviously was on point the entire time. Delegating, like, squads going here to there. We had, like, the run of the place, really.
Yeah. I will say, as I mentioned during the event a few times, I was almost disappointed with how much control Green had over me. Because I was like, I can't find a firefight. I'm used to the days of...
we looped around the field.
We literally did an entire tour of the field and couldn't find people to shoot at.
We kept expecting to, like, come up with, like, a squad, and we're just like, where's the hit? So, like, they were down in numbers, but at the same time, like, we expected to, like, run into, like, a squad somewhere, like,
yeah,
pulling
like
up
high,
to, like,
yeah.
an objective. But, like, at the same time, I think everybody should take note of, like, what penalties happen. Even if you didn't cause it, I mean, obviously, like, there might have been, like, 10 people that caused penalties, but it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But it's just, like, keeping the squad integrity, keeping your squad together.
Your first responsibility is to police your own squad.
Right, so if you're a squad leader, it's taking care of your squad. Platoon leaders obviously did a good job. But they can't keep an eye on all the squads.
Right.
I don't know how many platoon leaders there are. It was like 2, 3, maybe. 2 or 3.
I don't know.
So it really comes
How
down
many
to
platoons were there?
Pat,
Pat,
there were 4.
Was it 4 platoons? Pat?
Is he gone?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Here's the links are shaking on that.
We're talking about how many platoons there are or were.
Were. Like, was there 4
Like,
platoons for group 4 and 3 for TAN, right?
I believe it was.
It was 4 platoons.
Yeah, something like that.
So it still comes down to, like,
Yeah.
squads and
There's a
all
lot
that.
of people and you've got to police your own guys.
So really it's organization during the game, before the game, planning and all that, making sure everybody knows the rules. I mean, these are all basic rules.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a new player, you should be, like, reading through the outboard. All the rules are in there. They're on the forum weeks before the outboard. You should be reading through those.
Yeah, I will say.
Because I know when I was new coming into this, there's like a lot. So
There's a lot of
there's
information.
there's a lot of information to take in. And you don't always grasp it right away. Like, every game I went to, I grasped something new and new. And you finally, like, get a hold of everything. It's a lot. Like, it's not just the running gun, like, visual thing that you're used to.
That's
So
cool.
I mean, it's all the little things that everybody just has to take into account. Like, even us, like, keeping an eye on, like, where your friends are, where your squad mates are, whoever you're with. It doesn't really matter who.
Yeah.
Like, during the weekend, I was always like, like, where's Des? Where's James? Oh boy.
There's a couple times you're in town going, damn, bud. Damn, oh, there he is.
It's like, like, somebody might take off like, in one direction.
Yeah.
You know?
It's probably,
There's enemies nearby.
probably my
Find them.
Probably my highlight is when me and Jake cleared the entire town, and we're like, where the heck did James go? He was right behind us. And we walked back, and you're like halfway through clearing town again. We're like, James, you did this like 10 minutes ago.
Hey man, there are enemies literally right, like, to a building in front of me. And so I was just moving up, and then whatever, man. I definitely would have seen green.
He's like a hound dog. He's like, I got it.
Like that instance just makes no sense to me. How you guys cleared it, because I definitely would have seen
You
something.
literally like walked through the buildings and you were clearing.
I have no explanation for that one, I guess.
It was just funny. Well, so unfortunately, we were Dan wasn't able to play TAN. Unfortunately, as this is all Green's perspective. So we didn't get to play on Tan, but we got to play against them all weekend. And actually, before I hop into the subject I was about to, there's one more thing I want to add. And kind of returning to what Pat was talking and James was talking about earlier, is just overall awareness around you. As we brought this up on last week's podcast, but I do want to bring it up again. Is there's a lot of times at night, which makes up a significant amount of the game in terms of points, and there would be squads just sitting there. They'd be guarding like flak, for example, and yeah,
Can we tell this
yeah,
story?
we're going there, and they were just sitting there chatting. They had like a perimeter, but they were all just talking to each other, and it was to the point that we like casually walked in the flak.
I think it was like 2 or 3 rings. It was all of us.
No, there was like 6 of us. It wasn't a small group of people either.
Right.
Yeah, there was 6 of us that literally casually walked up to flak, guns up, and pointed at all the people in flak, and were like, and James was just like, state your team, and all the conversation stopped, and it went dead silent. And he said it again, and they go, blue 4, green, and James was like, all right, good, we're green too. But like they had no clue that there was 6 guys that just walked up on
Somebody
the
was like,
position.
oh my god, you're super pants.
Yeah, you definitely undersold that story. Underplayed
Well,
it.
we told it last week. There's no reason to retell it in that detail. But the point is like maybe a little more awareness, a little less chatter, and to return.
They just had no security.
Well, the worst part is they had.
They walked through their security.
What were you saying, Pat?
Oh, I said I had a situation out on the field when I first started rolling with the Reaper guys. We had gone up to a structure to make sure that it was signed for us.
Mhm.
And as I'm pulling security outside the structure, I can hear like random twig snapping. So like I've got an audio.
Oh yeah, I can retell this.
And so I turn to the other Reaper guys and I sign audible contact 12 o'clock. And then I say, I don't think it's us. They're not talking to each other.
It's true though.
Very long conversation gave away that was Cobor because they were quietly just trolling up to us. And sure enough, when our point guy went out and he started taking fire from the enemy recon team.
It's so true.
And it keeps going after that though. Like I do actually have to give mad props to squad 3-5 that rolled up after we had gotten shot and we were now bleeding out in place.
Mhm.
This squad, the entire squad rolls up casually group war style into this structure and starts moving around. Hasn't even noticed us dead in the bushes yet. And so I just go, medic, no. And one player looks up and everybody gets quiet and they just immediately come online. Like most of the time,
Nice.
like in the past when I've done that, people have been like, medic, no, what an idiot. They just keep going back.
Oh
This
my
guy
god.
immediately just like snapped right to it. They were like, oh fuck, there's dudes here. And they came online, they pressed the fight, and they actually eliminated that other team that had gotten us out.
Oh wow.
So,
Nice.
Mad props, 3-5.
No, that's definitely impressive. God. Actually, and overall, I have to say that was one thing Green did much better this time. It's like there was a lot of time. There was a few times it didn't happen. A lot of times, as recon, we'd be in a position and it'd be like, all right, we have this position secured, and this is props to everyone from AJX and the squad themselves. They'd roll up, secure the position, and we'd move on. And like a lot of times it happened in town, it happened at TIG, it happened in a lot of different places. And it was just nice to have that, like, all right, like just people got to where they needed to be very quickly. Other than that one time we were stuck at Alamo for an hour and a half, begging for backup.
Oh my god.
Right outside
Oh
town.
yeah. I think it's like they weren't pressuring us super hard. Like we were fending off.
Yeah.
We fended off at least 2 or 3 waves of 10.
Yeah.
But at one point, yeah, like after an hour in, we're like,
out of ammo,
can we
out
please
of
get
ammo."
reinforced so we can go out? Because usually it was. I mean, the nice thing about being recon. The nice thing about being on recon is you're just a squad of very experienced players, and so it was nice just to be able to lead, to lead a charge onto this objective, secure it, and then look at the closest squad you can find and be like, you guys are sticking in here, we're out of here, and just dip it out and finding something else to do. That was quite fun. I did like that.
But yeah, exactly. Returning to what I was saying earlier, though, is we fought against Tan all weekend, and I'm sure, and I know I did personally, I'm sure we all saw maybe little mistakes they did, as well as great successes on their part. And from a Greens perspective, what's things you think Tan could have done better, and things that they did incredibly well. And again, I'll let you take this away to start, Pat. Pat?
I think he died.
Yeah, sorry, no.
Oh, he's all right.
I just don't want to interrupt you with my voice. So, one thing, like, obviously, what Tan always does well is they stick together in a group, and that just adds to their momentum in firefights. Now, what's markedly different about this game for the Tan team was that they had just such a small amount, I'm sorry, they had a large deficit of players in their dots.
Yes.
They were playing with less manpower. But that did not stop them at all. Like, they just adapted their game. They, in fact, like, if you think back to all the times you've ever engaged KOF in the past in a game, they're loud, they're fast, they're aggressive, like they weigh a hammer down. But in this game, it seems like they were being a little more quiet. Maybe they weren't getting into firefights that they shouldn't have, and maybe they were focusing on their more priority objectives, things like that. They were actively adapting their strategy to the hand that they were dealt as far as manpower goes.
Absolutely. They were able to make pushes right through any kind of defenses we had with almost very little effort, or a lot of effort, but they did a great job. Kind of adding to what you're saying is their platoon size movements, their ability to move in platoon size and organized fashion is really something that would benefit Green to be able to do as well. Generally when Green moves in big groups, it just turns into a big clusterfuck. Tan is able to move 4 or 5 squads in cohesion, surround, engage, and attack, and take over a target in minutes. And it's very, very impressive how well they do that. Any criticisms that you saw over the weekend from Tan that you'd want to throw in, Pat?
I don't know. To a bunch of them, I guess, don't be such a fucking tool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players that have a mind on Tan team that could stand to gain a little bit of humility.
Yeah.
And obviously that extends to everybody, but especially Tan team. I don't know. It's always Tan is always the players that they attract have always kind of had a very alpha personality to them. And that happens to a lot of people that come to Airsoft games. They put on the cool gear and they adapt the alpha personality.
Yeah.
It's just some people don't know when to draw the line as far as, okay, I'm going to be aggressive, and okay, I'm about to start a fist fight.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just in my experience, I've noticed that maybe Cold War players have a higher tendency to escalate a little bit more when they should have just put their hands up and said, I don't need this right now, and walked away.
Fair enough.
Right. So I guess it has to go more towards player attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that one. A couple instances that I saw as well, but actually, I will say for the most part, attitude seemed a lot better this game compared to Spring Offensive from the Tan side.
Do you think that might be because players who are usually guilty of that type of thing maybe refrain from going to the game?
I absolutely think it's that, yes. And not bashing on you, Dan, because you were there for Spring Offensive. I realize that might come across wrong. I know you were super chill. What about you, James?
I am now super chill.
I used to be a little high. I had like idea about it.
My criticisms of Tan.
Well, things that you saw Tan do amazingly well, and some criticisms you might have for the way they played.
Let's see.
A few. Well, I guess I'll start with the criticisms. That when we were up in the valley and those that group of 3 random dudes who were definitely weren't a recon team just went 80 feet out of bounds.
That's a good point too. Is there's only 3 of them. Where was the rest of their squad?
Yeah, so that was wrong in several instances. But that's just 3 guys. I can't pin the whole team against them. So that was one thing where we were just because we saw them, we called them out. What is this guy doing?
Right. So, well, to clarify to the stream is and probably someone who just didn't know the field very well. And that is actually one criticism I'd have for UBG in general.
He was one of those GMR impressionists. Like he had the whole.
Okay, we don't need to go into that.
He
I was
the
saying,
whole get up like the FF patch on.
but
Like
it doesn't matter. Like that, literally drop that. But the point being,
James little fucker.
James, remember the thing we discussed about when I say so? Let's show you. But like UBG could stand to have their back territory marked a little bit better.
Yes.
Because there was one point that we were up in the valley area, and actually I will say at game start is we had an entire scan squad go outside of the field bounds to hit us.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a little disappointed when I said, hey, I got out, called myself out, we read cons, and I said to the squad leader, I was like, hey, by the way, it looks like you got about a squad-sized element outside the boundaries, just letting you know. He just looked at me and went, okay. And then just continued on his way, and I was like, or you could care about cheating, like, bit of an issue. But either way, to clarify the point that James is making is this was right before the game went into full swing and still during the voting period. We were up in the valley area, and we saw a few hundred feet away, about three TAM guys go beyond the field limit, and we were like, well, that's odd. Like, I wonder if they're just like going to take a piss, or if they're
I thought he was gonna go poop. I thought he was gonna go
Remember
poop.
that.
and
It's the only reason to step outside of the boundary.
so, and I said right then and there, I said, if they shoot us from outside of field bounds, like, I'm not going to take this hit because it's clearly breach of field bounds
Yes,
there.
yeah.
And about half an hour, 45 minutes later, inevitably, we got lit up from far outside field bounds. I was like, hey guys, like, I would take this hit, but you're nowhere near inside the field because we were on the field line. And I was a little frustrated they proceeded to argue with us for like,
Yeah,
2 or
and
3
they're like,
minutes.
well, what do you
That's
mean?
pretty
I'm like,
dumb.
there's orange on all these trees. They're like, we don't see the orange. I'm like, that's because you see the orange from within the boundaries.
right. But at the end of the day, they took it well enough. They said, okay, fine, and they walked back to CP. And I mean, I said to them even, I was like, hey, you guys didn't know, walk like 200 feet out and just be back in. Like, you don't have to go all the way back to CP. Just, we won't shoot if you on your way,
Yeah,
like,
way
walk in that
back,
direction.
yeah.
But again, that returns to the whole, like, attitude thing.
Yeah. So I don't like that. Like those instances were really the only ones where like it was kind of like meh. But definitely like I mean overall I enjoyed talking with a few of them.
No, exactly.
Like the guy when I was like telling him like, oh yeah, just keep shooting at me, I guess.
Or like the engagement where like I dropped the clip pad mid engagement.
Oh yeah, you came up just to say like how cool that was.
There was some great people on TAN too. I don't want to get the impression across that everyone on TAN sour. It's like some of my favorite players on TAN. We told this story last week, but I'll just refresh it real quick. Is there's a point where taking an objective, and I had the clipboard, and Kyle pushed ahead just a few steps to like check security. And I had the clipboard, and I was literally writing Groove 4 on the clipboard. And as I was writing the G, I heard quack, 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 and Kyle got hit. And I literally dropped the pen and clipboard, pulled my gun up, and tagged this guy out faster than I thought I possibly could. Like I was like, oh, that was quick. And I just like dipped into the woods. I got hit, then revived, and then hit again. And the engagement ended. They had a couple squads there, and only like what, 3 of us.
Yeah,
Or 4 of us. No, it was like
No, it was 6 of us.
6 of us. Yeah, it was 2 recon elements. And but as we were walking away from the engagement, the TAM guy was like, "Hey, Green, hold up a second." And he came running over it.
Well, we were like, what does he want?
And and I was curious what people had to say. He come over, he's like, "Dude, I just have to say, like, when you dropped that clipboard and tagged me out, he goes, you pulled up that gun and got me faster than I could swing my gun over to get you." And I was like, and we chatted about it for a minute. We walked away, and I was like, "This is what Airsoft needs to be. Like this kind of like." Get in the engagement, you have a good time, you're serious mode, but then when it's done, you fist bump, shake hands, and you all just talk. You enjoy it, you're all there to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, and the same thing, like that same guy that I was talking about, he eventually got shot out, and then that's when I pushed up that trail shot and then called myself out. I was setting up and I talked to him and he's like, "Oh, you were that guy? Oh, I'm the saw then." I'm like, "Oh no shit." And so we're just watching the rest of this firefight. And and one of the green guys got me something real cool, like walk up and shoot like 4 of them. And he's like, honestly, like I'm not even rooting for my team. I want to see this guy do some cool shit.
Exactly.
And they're just like all super cool. Like literally all of them, like were just laughing and stuff. They responded like, "Hey, catch you around, man."
Right. I love that.
So overall, like that was probably the best game in terms of like TAN relations. to be honest, that I've ever had. Like none of them were really that salty. Yeah, well, that also helps too. You know, the people that I was running with this time were definitely a bit, you know, playing on recon and with all the recon guys.
Pretty awesome.
That's yeah. No, you guys are really cool.
And
So
Odin
that was
Spirit
really
shout
nice.
out.
Yeah, definitely shout out to those guys
Yeah.
for you know that they didn't know me at all.
It goes back to didn't show up though.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's put some research into that.
Right, brains down.
Go down the roster.
Get some scientists. We need resources. Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time. Do you have anything else to add to that? In terms of how you saw Tam play, things they did great.
I mean, I'm always impressed with the freaking tactics.
Yeah,
I think we
and
need more
always.
tactics at like the squad element size and the platoon element size because we get hit and we're just like,
You get hit in
You
2
have
seconds,
coach him
and in 2 seconds,
it's
they
like
spread
the whole
out
tan
across
team,
your
the whole
entire.
tan team hit you and you're just like, where do they all come from?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just insane how like fast they like come at you and they're just like out and just like, wow, that was fast. Like
Yeah.
I feel like with the greening, like when we go into any game, we're not
We tend to
not
run.
the recon
Yeah, but a
team,
lot of green teams tend to
but,
bunch up.
Like the squad bunches up and they hunker down instead of all right, there's contact,
Like,
you like
it's
push
spread out.
through.
I will say
at that point when shit hits the fan, like just fucking go after it.
Yeah.
Like be
Yeah.
as loud as you want, move, get your
And
squad
don't
moving, get your people
don't
moving.
stay within 5 feet of your.
No, like
your squad
find
mate.
cover, like analyze the situation, where's everybody coming from, where
Yeah.
are your guys, and fucking move.
Yeah, and keep moving forward. Don't just hunker down and
Right.
stick. And I will say, green teams were a lot better about this time
That was good.
than last game, but there's definitely so much room for improvement.
Yeah.
And again, the level at which Tan is. Yeah, exactly. There's so much room for improvement, and really, like to anybody on green who's watching, look at the way Tan engages you, where the second they have fire, the furthest left and furthest right person on their squad are probably 200 feet apart from each other. They spread out and engage you from multiple angles faster than anything I've seen on green.
Let's get
And-
online.
And if green players have the same energy that they do, but we're able to move like Tan, I think we'd see a really big change in the way these games should play out. Like, yes, we won this time, but we also did have a 25% player increase. Not to say green didn't play great, but something to consider.
Yeah, no, Dan definitely did a good job given the hand that they were dealt.
Oh, incredibly well. Well, before we wrap up, we got a few more minutes. Anyone have any funny stories they want to throw in? Anything from you, Pat?
Well, I did get shot in the forehead with a background. That was pretty interesting.
I mean,
Oh.
you also shot Chris Holmes in the side with a tag round.
I paid him reparations for that. I paid him for helping with thermal fire grenades.
I want some of
I
those.
felt really bad.
When you're sitting on top of a stock.
I don't know if you actually saw it.
No, I didn't get to see it.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Oh, it was a CO2 one too. That had to hurt.
Yeah, you see, but like the thing is, I only kind of expected it to go up because my vehicle crew gave it back to me loaded. Like I thought that if they gave it back and it still had a round in it, they were like, oh, it was a misfire. Otherwise, they would have used it, right?
Okay.
But no, it was kind of painful. You know, I felt bad, but it was also kind of.
It was kind of hilarious. Not gonna lie.
But having been shot by tag rounds before, I do know that pain.
Yeah. I will say it was nice seeing a lot of people that I actually haven't seen in Airsoft world as much lately. Like I saw Wiki. I haven't seen him in years and years. It's been a while. He played green, I think. Yeah, he played green this round.
Yeah.
But actually, probably my one funny story I want to throw in is James's stupid headset. So for months leading up to this game, I said, James, get an in-ear headset or get a motor conduction headset because everyone's going to hear your stupid headset. He's like, no, I'll just turn the volume down. I'll just turn the volume down. I was like, if you give away our position one time because of this headset, I'm shooting you myself. and the entire...
I never did though.
You never did, but you instead spent the entire game with your hands over the speaker. Because especially when we were like 5 feet away from the recon team, the tan recon team.
That one, I had my heart in my throat for that one. For sure.
So there's that. That was funny. But any last minute stories?
Not really.
No, yeah, it was just about the whole weekend right there.
All right, I guess we'll wrap it up there. And anything in chat, like people threw in or anything like that? All right, well, throw in the comments of the YouTube video or Facebook video. They'll.
So raffle time. Airsoft players, and it was getting old pretty quick.
Hey,
they called the prize for, I think it was White Coots. Somebody on the tan team.
Oh,
and I think it was 2
that was
brothers.
funny. Yeah.
They started like WWE wrestling, and that was just
that was kind of funny, but like
that was
overall, like Pat, if you have any extras of the I fucking hate Airsoft, Pat, just you got one of those next time I see you, just I'll buy one off you.
So that was funny.
I'll give you one, and then you can give one to the next person who says that they fucking hate it.
Yeah, exactly, because
So
just
I might have mentioned this to one or several of you, but I'm playing on a Generation 2 patch of that, where it's the same style patch, but it looks like in red Sharpie somebody wrote ERS at the end of Airsoft. I fucking hate Airsoft. There's like an afterthought.
Yep. Yep.
You know what? I don't hate Airsoft. I hate Airsoft. That's it.
they're definitely sitting at that very long raffle. I was just like, I just like, come on, guys. I mean, no, they're all been fun. Like a few of them, I definitely felt like were a few first timers. You know,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong, but you're just
People
like,
having- everyone's high energy at the end of it. But either way, moving on. I guess we'll do our end of stream announcements before we wrap it up. Actually, I forgot we started.
We're just on schedule.
Right, forgot we started a few minutes late. So, but you want to talk about the Halloween event? I know the Facebook page finally went up.
Yes. So,
Actually, sorry to interrupt. Just one last thing. For those who are watching this, I know a lot of you told me you were going to tune into this later because our new time, I know, isn't ideal for those getting out of work. Unfortunately, it's the only time that works for us. But yeah, if you tune in this video later, absolutely throw your comments in either the YouTube video comments or the Facebook video comments, and let us know what you thought of the weekend, what you thought of Green Team, what you thought of Tan Team, what you think needs to be improved. Let us know your content. I know when we did our Spring Offensive one, a few people went back and looked at it right before the Autumn Justice game, so people probably see the stuff that you leave, so it's very worthwhile. But now that I'm done interrupting Dan, I'll let him continue.
alright guys, so Facebook events live, we're going to have registration, pre-reg up in a day or two. So you'll be able to pre-register for the event. Essentially the two sides are like, you have Dracula's side, which is all of the horror movie villains, which is going to be pretty crazy. Or you can pre-register for like the DC, like Batman and Company. We might have a spot where a special, like a note section where you can say if you're going to show up as any of those characters. On the Facebook event, there's it's right there, so we'll be putting the flyer up on the website and everything. But if you show up as like any of those characters, you'll have a game mode kind of based around you. So you might have a section where you're just sort of like, I'm showing up as Freddy. Cool. So then we have our Freddy game mode. So definitely do that. Pre-registration is going to be up. Facebook events live. Oct Transylvanian Terror, October 29th. It's a Sunday. Be there. This Friday, 22nd, Pistol Shotgun Night. Pistols and shotguns only. Like I said, we got them Jag scatterguns in. So I know quite a few people that have been aching to get their hands back on them. So
Just keep talking.
that's what they'll be doing. And then, what else do we got going on? Swap meet, Saturday. Pre-register. So how you do that is you call the store, you take a $5 payment just to reserve your spot, take down your info, and then you're good. You come the day of. It's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you just gotta hawk your wares, set up a table, sell your stuff. We have regular gaming going on at that time. So you'll have players coming in for the gaming, out for the gaming. It doesn't cost you anything to go in there and to buy things. As I said before, no sales of weapons to people under the age of 18, so minors, unless they have a parent there with them to give them consent to buy such a thing. And then September 30th is adult night. So 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. is regular gaming, and then 6 p.m. to midnight is going to be adult night, 18 plus only, 400 FPS, no safety kill rules, a bunch of other cool rules, and you can check that out. Make sure you check out our Facebook event. It'll have some of those details, or check it out on the website. It also has all of the relevant information that you're going to need. Other than that, I think that's everything we want to talk about.
I think I got it.
Yeah.
Actually, there is one more AJ-related thing that I want to bring up. Who's meant to finish downstairs? And that is, I saw on the AR thread on Nia, if you need more water. Yeah, if you notice, I don't have my Kickstart today. I'm ruined without it. There was a lot of hate for AJX MG.
That's dumb.
And actually, I think the way Cobalt put it in his response was fantastic. He basically said, it's modern camouflage. It's green.
Doing its job.
It's green. It's bright green colors so that it works well in the dark or the bright. Like it's yellow to green, I think you said colors. It's doing its job well. Just take a moment to eye effect. It's not going anywhere. Just like multicam is confusing because it's 3 tan colors and 3 green colors, but it's considered a tan camouflage. AJX is confusing, but you got used to multicam and get used to AJX. And this is talking, yes, with a bias. I run AJX. I love AJX. It works better than any camouflage I've ever run or seen.
I miss running AJX.
But this returns to the whole green team. I could be wearing probably bright green shorts and still get shot at because you thought I was tan. If you went to AJ, you'll know what I mean by bright green shorts. And just take a moment to IFF. Really, just take a moment to IFF. It doesn't take hard. The only time I ever got friendly fired, it was by squads who just weren't paying attention. Most people had no problem saying that's a green guy.
Yeah.
And I've never friendly fired an AJX guy. I've gone, oh, is that guy tan? Nope, that's AJX. I took the 2 seconds to say, is he tan? No, it's not. And wait, on Facebook I mentioned this, I'll say it here too. It's the way I look at it. You should have enough time to identify a friend though. If you don't have enough time because they're shooting at you, they're probably tan. If you shoot,
they probably already identified you. So
if you shoot at someone and they wave at you, you're probably wrong.
Yeah.
So if they wave at you and start yelling at you, they're probably not tan.
Yeah.
So like that easy. It's the whole just a little bit of common sense goes a million miles when it comes to IFF.
That happened to me this weekend. I was here on the field, and so my teammates were all behind me, so I was moving up. You guys can't really see, but the building next to the tower on far side. So I was right here in the S building here, and I was like coming out, but I was waving through the window. I was like friendly, and then a bunch of shots just come at me. So I hit the dag. I was like, I was like, I just was like, why else would I wave at you? I'm not like, can't hit me. Right. It's like a, hey bud.
Oh God,
don't shoot me. I just ran out. I just wanted 1 kill.
Well,
a customer gave me his AEP.
Okay.
And I was like, I want 1 kill with
yeah.
I was shooting 150 FPS. So
right.
That was awesome.
So the trick is, if you don't want to be friendly fired, if you're extreme, don't play with chains. How many times do you think you friendly fired me, James?
I've only friendly fired you like 5 or 6 times in total.
Over like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
That's at least once every time you guys played, which seems like an unacceptable.
That's accurate. No, that's very accurate. I'm shooting Des at least once.
Every time. But
love-hate relationships.
But I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been about an hour and a half. Thank you very much for joining us, Pat. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
We'll have to get you down here in person again at some point.
Hello.
But yeah, like I said, Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the stream, hit that like button below, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. It helps. If you're on Facebook,
subscribe button.
yeah, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But but for real,
subscribe.
if you enjoyed these streams, hit the subscribe button. It'll notify you when we're going live. If you're on Facebook and you like it, or just add us to like your what do they do on Facebook? Yeah,
Follow, just do like follow page or
Like
receive notifications.
Yeah, and
when
you'll-
live.
Exactly. That way you can follow the streams in the future. We do Thursday videos.
This Thursday,
We've got some
review.
these last few weeks.
Yes, we've been we're good this week. We're going to be up and running. We had a review on it's like a throwback video for the G&G GSS because we get a lot of questions about that. So, GSS.
I've been doing it. Nice to have it.
But like I said, thanks again for watching. We will see you next week.
See you then.
We'll be announcing that topic probably over the weekend, if not sooner. Depends how quickly we come up with it. If there's anything you guys want us to discuss, please throw in the comments. We'd love to hear some new topics and chat about it. But like I said, with that, we'll see you later.
Bye.